Hey everybody, this is Rykard here again, and welcome to another Pokemon Sun and Moon Movesets video. Today's video is going to be all about Passimian, so let's get started by taking a look at this Pokemon's typing, abilities, and stats. So to start things off, Passimian is a fighting-type Pokemon that has access to two abilities, the first of which being a new Sun and Moon ability in the form of Receiver, which works in a way such that whenever your ally dies in a doubles battle while Passimian is simultaneously out on the field, you will instead adopt the fallen ally's ability to your own. Now unfortunately, this does not have any use in singles battles, but it is a very cool doubles ability to make use of. In singles, however, you're pretty much always going to be using its hidden ability in the form of Defiant, which is an ability that raises this Pokemon's physical attack by 2 stages whenever one of its stats gets lowered, whether it be by the secondary effect of a move or switching in onto something like Sticky Web that'll be lowering your speed. As for its stats though, this Pokemon has base 100 HP, 90 defense, and 60 special defense, effectively allowing it to act as a pretty potent physical wall and even make use of its special defense stat as well on a certain boosting set I'm going to be showing later that will be simultaneously boosting your physical defense. But the cool thing about it possessing such great HP and defense is that it also does this with a really great attack stat, being base 120. Unfortunately, its special attack is only base 40, but its speed also is a pretty average base 80, which is actually on the faster end of a lot of things introduced into Pokemon Sun and Moon, and puts it at a great range for this Pokemon to either just outspeed things on its own, or be a perfect candidate for a Choice Scarf to be put onto this thing to increase its speed further. But with that, let's take a look at the first moveset that I have for you in this video. So for this first moveset, we're going to begin by giving Passimian either a Jolly Nature to boost its speed but lower its special attack, or an Adamant Nature to boost its physical attack but lower its special attack, and then going with the Defiant ability. As to the EVs, we're going to max out its physical attack and its speed with 252 EVs into both of those stats, and then put the remainder 4 EVs into its special defense. As to the item, we're going to be giving it a Choice Band to boost its physical attack, a Choice Scarf to boost its speed, a Life Orb to boost the damage of all of its moves at the cost of losing 10% of your health every time you damage your opponent, an Expert Belt to boost the damage of super effective moves, an Assault Vest to boost your special defense, or leftovers to allow this Pokemon to recover some HP at the end of every turn while it damages its opponents. But for the first move that we're going to be making use of on this set, it's going to be our main stab fighting type move in the form of Close Combat. And this is a very powerful move, but do keep in mind that it will be lowering your physical defense and special defense every single time you damage your opponent with it. Then, for some more type coverage, we're going to be going with Iron Head as a way to allow Passimian a reliable way to hit Steel type super effectively that would normally be resisting its close combat. And then for additional coverage in the third move slot, we're either going to run Rock Slide or Brutal Swing, and Brutal Swing being of particular note for the fact that Close Combat is not able to touch Ghost types, so Brutal Swing will be a really good way to hit them super effectively, whereas Rock Slide on the other hand will help out Passimian dealing with Flying type Pokemon that would also be resisting Close Combat. But the third option here is actually to run Quick Attack, which is a nice little priority move that this Pokemon has access to. It isn't Stab, but it still is priority and could allow this Pokemon to outspeed and deal with something at a very low range of health that would normally be able to just take out Passimian before it would be able to use any of its other attacks. But for the last move on the set, we're going to be making use of U-Turn as a way to allow this Pokemon to not only scout, potentially get some switch advantage on its opponents, but also to deal a little bit of bug type damage every time it does switch out of the battle. As for this next move set, we're going to be using Passimian more so as a boosting attacker. So we're going to start again with a Jolly or Adamant Nature, the same ability and the same EV spread as before, but the item choices are more or less going to reflect what you decide to use as a boosting move, which is what I listed as the 4th move slot in this set. So going down to that right now, this Pokemon first has access to Bulk Up as a way to boost its physical attack and physical defense by 1 stage, allowing it to become a little bit more physically bulky, but also to boost its attack power outright. The next option could be to go with Sunny Day, to be used in combination with Furium Z, as a way to not only set up Sun for your team, but also boost your speed by 1 stage when you use Sunny Day with the Fire Z Crystal. Then we're also going to potentially run Rain Dance as well to do the exact same thing with Waterium Z, but again to set up Rain instead. And this could be of particular use if you are actually using this Pokemon on a Rain or Sun team, because it doesn't have to just be a Pokemon that gets the benefit of the actual weather being put up. it could just take advantage of the speed boost and allow the rain or sun to help out other members of your team. But the last potential option that we can run here as a way of boosting our stats is actually to run Bestow, which is a move that I think I have never ever seen used up until this point, because its interesting effect with the Normalium Z item is that it actually boosts your speed by 2 stages, effectively acting as agility with a Normalium Z crystal as your item, which is very cool for allowing this Pokemon to outspeed a ton of things and make it very fast. But if you also just want to use this Pokemon as an attacker with 3 attacks and potentially get some advantage on your opponent, Substitute is a great way to allow this Pokemon to get behind a protective barrier to shield it from attacks and statuses while it attempts to significantly damage its opponents with its high physical attack. But for the main attacks on the set, again, we're going to be going with Close Combat for your stab fighting move, and Iron Head as a way to help you deal with fairies, and then again, Rock Slide, Brutal Swing, or Quick Attack in the 3rd move slot, depending on if you want some type coverage as a rock move, a dark move, or having the added priority that Quick Attack can provide. As for this 3rd move set, we're going to be using Passimian as a bulky boosting attacker. So we're going to start this one off by giving it a careful nature to increase its special defense but lower its special attack, going with the Defiant ability, and then running an EV spread that includes 252 HP EVs, 252 special defense EVs, and 4 speed EVs to give you your max special bulk possible. And for the item, going with Leftovers on the set to allow this Pokemon to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn. As to the moves though, the first thing to note is that we're going to be going with Bulk Up on this set as a way to boost our physical attack and our physical defense by 1 stage, effectively making this Pokemon very bulky due to the EV investment into the special defense and the physical defense boost that we're going to be getting with the Bulk Ups. So being able to take hits very well, we're going to be making use of 2 different attacks, possibly 3, to then make use of these boosted stats. So the first option is going to be our Stab fighting type move in the form of either Close Combat or Brick Break. Close Combat is a little bit more risky on this set because we are bulk upping to allow us to increase our physical defense, and obviously we're slower on this set, so Close Combat unfortunately is going to be lowering that physical defense back down while also simultaneously lowering your special defense. It is the most powerful fighting move you get though, but it is a little bit risky in a bulk up set, which is why I listed Brick Break a much weaker but more reliable option because it isn't going to be lowering any of your stats. As for your next attack, we're going to make use of either Iron Head, again like before, to allow this Pokemon a way to deal with fairy types, Brutal Swing to allow this Pokemon an easy way to deal with ghost types, and then Quick Attack potentially on this set as well to give you some priority after you've boosted your attack. And for the last move on the set, we can run Substitute as a way to allow this Pokemon a little bit of an easier time to set up by allowing it to get behind a protective barrier that shields it from attacks and statuses that will also become increasingly more difficult to break as you set up, or running Quick Attack in this last move slot as well to again make use of a priority move based off of your now boosted physical attack after a couple bulk ups. And finally, for the last move set of this video, we're going to be using Passimian as a physical wall. So we're going to start this one off by giving it an Impish Nature to increase its physical defense but lower its special attack, going with the Defiant ability, and then running an EV spread of 252 HP EVs, 252 physical defense EVs, and 4 speed EVs to make this Pokemon as physically bulky as possible. Then, for the item on the set, we're either going to run Leftovers as a way to allow this Pokemon to recover a little bit of HP at the end of every turn, or running either a Heat Rock or a Damp Rock to work with the first move on the set. Now normally, you're most likely going to want to go with Taunt on this Pokemon as a way to prevent your opponents from using any non-attacking moves that would either be setting up hazards, healing themselves up, statusing you, or any variety of other things that Taunt blocks. But this Pokemon is also very interesting in that it actually has access to both of the most common weather moves in Sunny Day and Rain Dance, so it can effectively, on a bulky set, be a really good support Pokemon to these types of teams, which is why a Heat Rock, which will extend the turns of Sunny Day to 8 as opposed to the normal 5, and a Damp Rock, which does the same thing but for rain, is on this set because it's a really unique thing that this Pokemon is able to do. But for the other moves, again, we're going to be throwing in Close Combat to be our strongest stab fighting type move, but since we're not boosting our attack on this set at all, it may also be an option to potentially run Seismic Toss on this set as well to do a consistent amount of damage every single turn that you won't really have to worry about being resisted. As for your other moves though, again, Iron Head is an option there to allow this Pokemon an easy way to deal with fairy types, And Brutal Swing is obviously there again to allow you to deal with ghost types, and Quick Attack again for the added priority. Even though this is a more bulky set, having a priority move on a bulkier Pokemon can be very useful in the long run. But for your last move, again, potentially running U-Turn to allow this Pokemon to not only be kind of a bulky wall that can maneuver around battle very easily, while simultaneously doing a little bit of damage when it switches out, but again, also potentially running Quick Attack in this last move slot, just to throw some priority on this Pokemon, so that it could potentially revenge kill something even without the attack and speed investment that was on some of the previous sets. But with that, everybody, that is it for this new Pokemon. I find Passimian to be the more unique of the two new monkey Pokemon, just because of this interesting like sunny day rain dance thing that I have going on here, and its ability to actually quote-unquote use agility through Bestow with Normalium Z. But anyways, everybody, that is it as I said, so as always, take care, goodbye, and I will see you all next time.